one and all, and today we are going to start with our lesson number 15, life processes in living organism. Now, before I start with the topic, let me tell you this is one of the very important and interesting chapter which you have in your biology. In this particular chapter, we are going to go or learn into insights of various living organisms, majorly about plants and humans. And in plants and humans, we are going to understand concepts about how coordination is taking place within plants and within animals. So it will include various processes like excretion, transportation, translocation, all new terms. And before we proceed with actual learning of the lesson, let's divide the entire chapter into two parts. One will be complete botany section. Botany is we will be dealing with only plants. And second, we will be only dealing with animal section. Now, when I'm saying animal section, it also includes human beings. Okay. Now, one very interesting thing which is present in this lesson, your textbook has given mentions about few experiments, but not all experiments are nicely shown with the help of pictures. So in today's presentation, I have added few pictures which will give you a good insight how is the experiment conducted. Okay. This chapter was already present for few students during their exams. So for all those students, it would act as a round of revision. Cool. And one more thing which I would like to make it clear is that students, you will have to write notes for this chapter. Otherwise, at the last moment, revising it will be a okay. So one thing that we will be learning new terms, and second thing, you will have to write few notes. Now, I am not going to give you big paragraphs, but yes, few pointers which will help you in understanding. All right. So let's start with life processes in living organisms. Now, when we speak about life process in living organisms, we know that now first we are beginning with plants. Okay. But before we move on to plants, there is a very good question present in our textbook. The textbook is asking you, how do digestive system and respiratory system work? I'm repeating the question once again. The questions ask you, how does digestive system and respiratory system works? Yes, so it's a very brief topic. For that, you need to know the complete two process. Let's start with the explanation of digestive system. We know that digestion starts very much from mouth. The moment we eat, we chew the food, right from there, digestion of starch starts. And the food travels through the entire alimentary canal, entire alimentary canal, and then finally, okay, there are students stating that my voice is cracking. Okay, so I was speaking about digestive system, which starts right away from our mouth and it ends at a point called at anus, from where we defecate the excretory part of the excretory material from our body. Okay. When we come to respiratory system, we know that respiration is combination of inhalation and exhalation, right? We breathe in oxygen and we give out CO2, or we exhale CO2. Simple as that. I'm very sure you have learned both these processes during your earlier standard. Correct? Now, let's move on to the very first part called as coordination in plants. Now, in this specific topic, we will be dealing with various concepts that how coordination is managed within a plant body. Yes, answering one of the question given in the chat box, Miss, in zoology, the human body is also included. Yes, even humans are animal, therefore humans are also included in zoology. Okay, now in front of you is a beautiful plant. Tell me which is the peculiar characteristic of plant, or I would ask you which is the process by which plant is going to prepare its own food. Correct. I am receiving all correct answers. The process is called as photosynthesis. Now, when I am saying that plants perform photosynthesis, can you answer which are the basic things required to carry out the reaction called as photosynthesis? What things are very, very essential for photosynthesis to be conducted? Now, here I'm asking you the raw materials. Don't tell me plant is required. Obviously, correct. Very, very good. Such a good response. Okay, so let us discuss. Number one, we require sunlight because photosynthesis is a reaction which is light dependent reaction. If sunlight is not present, photosynthesis will not take place. Second important thing, that is CO2, carbon dioxide. Until and unless carbon dioxide is not there, no breakdown of carbon and oxygen is going to take place. And third is water. And fourth and very, very important is your chlorophyll molecule, which is present in the chloroplast of the plant, right? Because the entire process takes place inside the green color part of the plant, which could be either the leaf or the green tender stem. And this green color of the plant will contain a cell organelle called as chloroplast. Inside this chloroplast will be a small molecule called as chlorophyll, which is responsible for conduction of this entire process called as photosynthesis. Clear for everyone till now? Okay, very well. Now, let's focus on that other than preparing its own food. So we know that plants can prepare their own food and they can consume it. But for preparing their own food, other than water, sunlight, and CO2, don't you think they need something extra? In case of us as as humans, we require carbohydrates, fats, proteins, and water. But are there any other micronutrients which we require? Yes, correct. So we and plants, both these organisms require micronutrients called as minerals and vitamins, right? And the plant will always get anything, or it will absorb everything from soil. Now, when I'm talking about these nutritious things, where all these substances in the soil come from? Is it the soil which originally has, or is it the water which gets it over there? It's both, correct? Now, there are few inorganic substances which plants require for their good growth and development, right? Let's start answering this inorganic substances. These are Nitrogen, very, very, very important. Now, why is nitrogen required? Can anybody answer me? Correct. DNA का basic part. Okay, if you have ever studied DNA is made up of nitrogen base. Therefore, nitrogen is very important. Second thing, the basic molecule chlorophyll is also made up of nitrogen, right? And also basic part of protein. Therefore, nitrogen is very essential for plants. Let's have a look at the second inorganic substance. It's phosphorus. Again, phosphate is present in DNA, correct? Therefore, phosphorus, an inorganic substance, is also required by the plant. Third, magnesium, one of the micronutrient, but again, very, very essential. Fourth is manganese, and fifth is sodium. So let's revise the 5 inorganic substances required by the plants for their normal growth and development. They are nitrogen, phosphorus, magnesium, manganese, and sodium. Yes, now you need to write it. So the first thing which you'll be doing is giving the heading, which will be the name or the title of the lesson. Second thing, you would give another subheading as coordination in plants. And once you have given the heading coordination in plants, then you will start with this subtitle, that's inorganic substances required by the plants, and write down these 5 points. When I'm asking you to write, you actually need to write and not just take screenshots. Done till here, cool. Now we are moving for the next part, which is for absorption of water and minerals. There are few very, very essential systems required. These essential systems are denoted by a simple word. Okay, there are few students who want me to go back. Okay, taking you back for a minute. No, now there's a doubt from the chat box. Please remember, inorganic substances will be all of them without carbon. When I say organic substance, it has to compulsorily have carbon inside them. So organic is with carbon, inorganic is without carbon. If you want to write it, make note of it somewhere at the corner. But that's the rule, thumb rule. Okay. Now, I was saying that when plant needs to absorb nutrition, minerals, water from the soil, and to carry the food from one part to other part of the plant, they require a very important, or I can say specialized type of cells. And these cells from an entire system, the system will be called as, or it has a simple name as vascular system. Now, when I say about vascular system, there are two types of different channels found in the plant. Can you name them? Correct. Very good. So the names of these two systems are xylem, which will do the work of conduction of water, and second one is phloem, which will perform the work of conduction of food. Now, here is the next question for you. Listen to me very, very carefully. When I'm saying that xylem is going to do the work of conduction of water, tell me in which direction xylem will be functional. In which directional xylem will be functional? Will it be from top to bottom or from bottom to top or in both ways? Did you get my question? My question was, if xylem is functional, in which direction xylem is going to work? From top to bottom or from bottom to top? Okay, now there are all the three categories of answers which I have received, right from top to bottom, bottom to top. Tell me or answer my simple question. When water needs to be absorbed, will it be taken from root to tip of the plant or from tip of the plant to the root? From roots, correct? So if water needs to be absorbed from the roots, understand xylem will only conduct water from roots of the plant till the tip of the plant. Therefore, the answer for the previous question was that xylem is going to function in only one direction, which will be from bottom till top. Okay, this means that xylem का जो पूरा pipeline है वो एक ही direction में काम करेगा. That means you can also write xylem, put a hyphen, work of conduction of water, and in bracket write down unidirectional. That means it will work in only single direction. Now I want you to give a heading as vascular system. Write down these two pointers: xylem, conduction of water; phloem, conduction of food. And after that, for direction purpose, after you write water, put this into bracket as unidirectional. Spelling of unidirectional is sent on to your chat box. So there's one more question in the chat box that Miss, will minerals also be absorbed from xylem? Now let me ask you again, when I'm saying minerals, are these minerals present in dissolved form or in solid form? When I'm saying plants are going to absorb minerals, will these minerals be in solid form or in liquid form? Dissolved form, correct? So when they are in dissolved form, will they choose xylem or will they choose phloem? Correct. They will always and always choose xylem. Okay, so one concept is clear. Now let's move on to the next concept. We have written the second point as that phloem is used for transportation or for conduction of food. Now let me ask you one question. Where is food produced? Leaves. So tell me in which direction phloem will work. Will it work from leaf direction till the top or leaf to roots or which way? Will it be top to bottom or bottom to top or in both direction? Again, a mixture of answers is what I am receiving in the chat box. Now let's take an example. On your screen, I'll put a cursor over here, which is the leaf on the right hand side and the last leaf. If the food is going to be produced in this particular leaf, will it conduct the food till the roots or to each and every part of the plant? Each and every part. So can I say that phloem will work in both the direction, from top to bottom or from bottom to top? It depends that in which leaf how much quantity of food is produced, and how and on what things is food produced dependent on the basis of sunlight available to the to those leaves. Correct. The leaves which are receiving more sunlight will be performing more photosynthesis. So your answer is phloem will do the work of conduction of food, and it will be bidirectional. That is what you will be writing in bracket besides food as bidirectional. Spelling is given to you in the chat box. Okay, so there is a question. Does plant has natural moisture or water? So plant will only have their natural moisture or water based on how much water they absorb. Plant cannot produce water. It can only store water. Ma'am, food is also in the root nodules of plants. Na. So ideally, root nodules do not do the work of production of food. It is some modification which the plant undergoes, so that excess amount of food is sometimes stored in roots or stem. Let me give you an example. We all eat radish or carrot, correct? Now, all this part which are nothing but roots of the plant which we consume. And what happens is this excess food is stored in the roots. Okay. Okay, there's one more question in the chat box. Ma'am, can you tell me the meaning of unidirectional? Okay, unidirection ka meaning hai ki xylem will work only in single direction. So anything working in single direction will be called as unidirectional. Anything working in both the direction or two directions at one given time, it will be called as bidirectional. One more question. So, ma'am, is the food is stored in roots as well? On an average, the answer for this question will be no. It is only some specialized plants which undergo modification. Now, you don't please connect this topic with your rhizobium and nitrogen fixation. Yes, there are many more system in plants. Now, when we say, okay, there's one more question. What do you mean by minerals and vitamins? So when I'm saying minerals and vitamins, these are nothing but elements or inorganic substances, which we have just studied. Now, when we say, even in for humans, when we say that we are a deficit of a specific vitamin, or we say that there is lack of calcium. So what is calcium? Calcium is nothing but an element present in the periodic table, right? In chemistry, you will learn calcium is present in the periodic table. It is one of the element. So all green color parts of the plant have chlorophyll. That's the answer for the next question. All green color part, whichever green color part you are able to see on a plant has chlorophyll. Yes, for all other plants which have different colors of leaf, they have different pigments inside them, due to which leaves are yellow in color, red in color. Green color pigment is chlorophyll, because of which plants are green in color. Yes, I will explain you how is phloem bidirectional, but when we come to the next system, slowly and eventually. Okay, all sorted till vascular system. So when I'm saying vascular system, they are present throughout the plant. जैसे हम लोग क्या हम लोग humans में बोल सकते हैं that where is circulatory system present or where is blood present? No, it is spread across the entire body, right? Similarly, even for plants, vascular system is present throughout the plant, right from the apex part, that is the topmost part, till the last root hair of the root of the plant. Entire plant will show presence of conducting or vascular system. Okay, now let's move on to the next topic called as root pressure. Now, before we are understanding this big topic, there's a very small experiment given in our textbook. So let's have a look at it. So what the experiment states is, you take a plant, you take it out from the ground, you nicely wash its root, and you remove all the soil present. Okay? So the first step is take a plant, clean the soil, and now after cleaning, you need to attach this plant to a clamp. What is clamp? एक सिर्फ stand रहता है, उस stand में clip रहता है. You get the plant clamped, is you get the plant clipped to it, and plant ऐसे clip करना है कि plant के roots are getting beaker beneath them. Beaker क्या है? Beaker is a glass vessel in which we usually keep water. And there is also measurement or markings present on the beaker to understand how much volume of water are we handling. Okay, so the first step, we take a beaker filled with water. We know how much water we have taken. Then we add a stain. Stain can be also called as dye. Okay, so right now we cannot directly add safranin or eosin stain to water. Therefore, we first take the stain and then we add it to a small test tube. Okay, so adding eosin and safranin into water, we'll take the stain, we'll mix that stain hardly 1 or 2 drops in test tube, and then we'll add this water of the test tube to the beaker. So what will happen at the end? The beaker's transparent water will become red in color, red to orangish in color, based on how much dye are we taking or what is the concentration of the dye. So now the beaker would look like this. Okay, it has got complete 200 ml of red color water. What are we going to do is, we are going to place this beaker beneath the plant which we have clamped to a stand. Now tell me what will happen if the roots of this clamped plant are dipped in this beaker. Will the plant absorb this water? My question remains same. Will the plant absorb this water? Okay. Now there are 80% yes and 20% no. Now here is the further explanation for all those who have written the answer as no. Are we dealing with something called as bad vegetable or polluted or not fit vegetable? Not in this chapter, but in our routine life. Yes. So a plant will absorb anything which is present in the soil or the water. If you water the plant with bad water, it will absorb the same.
If you water the plant with contaminated water, it will absorb the same. Correct? Therefore, the pesticides or insecticides are also absorbed by plant. Absorbed through the water if they are dissolvable, right? So now I'm asking the question once again, what if I place this red color water? It's a simple dye. It's not bad at all. If I place this beaker with red color water beneath the plant, is the plant going to absorb it? Okay, yes. Now, if the plant is absorbing this water, will there be any changes in the appearance of the plant? The plant will look as it is, but the shade or the color of the plant's veins in sense, if you will nicely observe the leaf, you will be able to find the minute vesicle like structure, which is nothing but presence of xylem vessels, and they will turn red in color. Now, when they turn red in color, the plant will look something like this. So this is your entire setup. There's a stand on which you first clamp the plant. Clamping the plant is this. This is called as clamping the plant. Then you put a beaker beneath it, which has dye, and slowly and eventually, now that it won't happen in 1 or 2 hours, it will take a good amount of time. Slowly and eventually, the plant will absorb this red color water, and the veins of the plant will turn red into color. Now, the experiment is pretty much understood by everyone, I am very sure. But can you tell me from this, what is the conclusion which we make? Number one, that water will travel from root to each and every part of the body. Obviously, it is unidirectional. And third, roots are the one which will do the work of absorption. Correct? From this, we can make out that the veins turn out red in color, and this gives rise or more scope for us to understand something called as root pressure. So what I'm going to do is, now I'll be showing you a picture in which the highlighted part will be only about the root. So let me explain you how is it going to work. What we will be learning now is that if this is a root, what I'm going to do is I'm only going to take this particular section and I'm going to zoom it. Now, when I'll be zooming it, can I say that even root, which is also part of the plant, will be made up of cells? Yes. So the hair will be root hairs. Even root hairs will be made up of cells. Correct? So if I magnify this, will I be able to see different type of cells? Correct? All in congested form. Okay, so let these be those cells of the root part of the plant. Okay. Now, let's say the bottom lines of cells are the ones which are part of root hair. So water will be absorbed in this particular cell first. Okay.
After water is getting absorbed in this cell, the water will move from one cell to another cell, and slowly and eventually the water will start traveling upwards. Now, once the water is going to travel, don't you think the cells will absorb as much amount of water they can? If they are absorbing that much amount of water, can I say कि वो पूरी तरह से पानी से भर जाएंगे? And एक बार अगर वो पूरी तरह पानी से भर गए, can I say they are going to swell up, right? And when the cells swell up, we use a term called as turgid. So turging is swelling of cell. Okay. Now, if you need to imagine this, I'll give you one more quick example. Do you know something called as either a grape? Okay. What if you put a grape into a glass of water? Will that grape absorb water? Yes. Or a raisin? Raisin is nothing but your manuka. Will it absorb water? Yes, very much. And after it has absorbed water, will there be any change in its structure? So if there will be, right? So if this would have been a normal grape, after swelling, the grape will become of this size. Can I say this is a turgid grape? Yes. Abhi, here comes your next question. Let's focus on the root part. Okay. अगर ये cells ऐसे ही turgid होते जा रहे हैं, I am focusing on the first 3 cells. ठीक है? If they are going to swell up, shall I say that they are going to get increase in their size? अगर ये साइज में इंक्रीज हो जाएंगे तो क्या आजू बाजू के सेल्स पे प्रेशर आएगा? So the suffering cells will be these ones, the one marked in red color. These will be the cells who will be suffering, correct? And due to change in their shape, they will occupy more space. Right? Now, if these cells are not getting pressurized, will the water move upwards? अगर यहाँ पे प्रेशर बिल्डअप नहीं होगा तो क्या पानी ऊपर जाएगा? No. So this is a good pressure. Yes, and only because of this the water is going to travel from one cell to other cell and in upward direction. Correct? Now answer my last question. ये प्रेशर किसके वजह से है या फिर which is the part that we are studying? Which is the part that we are studying? Root. So can I say this is the pressure which is developed due to root? So can I call it as a root pressure? Yes. Okay. Now let's go and see into the diagram, understanding the cells little more better way. Now what you need to ignore are the first labelings called as metaxylem, protoxylem. I don't want you to focus on this. I want you to focus at the bottom of the diagram. Okay. So here at the bottom of the diagram, the circular ones are the soil particles. And this curved one is nothing but your root hair. First step, what is going to happen? From the soil particles and the water, obviously, root hairs will start absorption of water. Correct? Once absorption of water starts, the water will start to go in the upward direction. Now, this upward direction or the normal cell area is what is called as cortex area. Okay? So at the bottom, are you able to see this curved line where the cursor is present?
Only single root hair is shown for your understanding purpose. So from root hair, the water will be absorbed and it will enter the root. Roots inside it are called as cortex. So now once the water will be absorbed from the soil, what will happen is it will be entering the cortex cells, and once cortex cells will start absorbing more and more water, they will become turgid. Fine. Now once they become turgid, they will change from this picture to this picture. See, they have got expanded. Correct. Now if I'm only highlighting or if I'm carefully observing these cells, turgid is swelling up. If I'm carefully observing this part of the turgid cells, it will look something like this. Are you able to see the dotted arrows shown in the cortex area? Yes, these are the cells which will do the work of conduction of water. And meanwhile, they're conducting water, they will also exert pressure on the neighboring cells. Okay, so we'll quickly remove this cortex part so that we'll be able to see a highlighted or better focused. It will look something like this. So from this root hair, water absorbed, water was absorbed. Now it is moving into cortex cells, और जैसे जैसे cortex cells पानी लेके जा रहे हैं or they are conducting, they are increasing in their size, and since their size is increasing, neighboring cells का size decrease हो रहा है. Correct? Now let's learn the same thing from the diagram which is given in your textbook. टेक्स्टबुक में गलती इतना ही दिया है कि डायग्राम जो ऐसे वर्टिकल होना चाहिए था ये हॉरिजॉन्टल दिया है. सो अभी हम लोग जो भी दिख रहा है वो ऐसे उल्टा देखेंगे. दिस इज द एक्चुअल डायग्राम. सो नीचे की तरफ रूट्स है, ऊपर की तरफ प्लांट है, बट इन द टेक्स्ट बुक्स डायग्राम रूट इज गिवन ऑन द लेफ्ट साइड, मतलब पूरे प्लांट को सुला दिया है. सो प्लांट टिप is on your right hand side and plant root is on your left hand side. Hope you are understanding it. Okay. So the first part, we are able to see soil particles given in gray color. There is root hairs and water is entering the root hair. Now answer my question. Root hairs के बाद पानी कहाँ पे जाएगा? Cells में, correct? These cells will be called as, very correct, cortex cells. So root hairs absorb water and the cells of cortex will absorb this water. The moment cortex cells are going to absorb this water, they will become turgid. And आगे ये पानी कहाँ पे जाएगा? It will go to such an end where it is meeting xylem. Correct? क्योंकि ऊपर से पानी किसको कंडक्ट करके लेके जाना है? Xylem को. So now this water will enter xylem, and from xylem it will go to each and every part of the plant in upward direction. Is it clear? This is how a single root or a single root hair will be responsible. But does the plant only have single root hair or single root? No, it has many roots, correct? So it will look like this. Water will be entered by each and every root and it will take it till the base of the stem where xylem starts. Now the blue color thing is nothing but your water. These are not cells. It is just shown how water is going to enter the xylem. No doubts? Okay. So the second thing what happens is turgid cells create pressure on adjacent cells, and this is called as root pressure. What is cortex? Cortex is nothing but middle part of anything.
beach wala part. So if you are handling a carrot in your hand, if you're handling a carrot in your hand, you just nicely slice off its covering edges. जो center या फिर बीच वाला part रहता है, that is called as cortex area. Okay, there's one question that, ma'am, on which page is this present? Okay, this diagram is present in your textbook, page number 164. Clear? Now I want you all to give a heading as root pressure. Leave few lines because you will be drawing this diagram later on as part of your homework. And after leaving few lines, you will be writing these 3 points. Root hairs, see, root hairs are continuously under absorption. So they will always remain in the same state. But cells will conduct water only when it has been absorbed. Be quick, put the heading as root pressure, leave 4 to 5 lines for the diagram. You will be drawing diagram till xylem, and you will be then writing these 3 points. I'm repeating once again, cortex is the centralized part of the root. Leaving the edges. No, one cortex is, so it's simple. Listen, have you ever eaten cabbage or have you ever seen cabbage? It's a veggie. If you remove the outermost covering of cabbage, what inner thing remains, you can call it as the cortex. But I am comparing this with roots. Don't call the center part of cabbage as cortex. Did you get it? Yes, correct. The most central part is called as cortex. All right, do let me know once you have done with writing of these 3 points. Very well. Hope you are enjoying. This chapter is very, very amazing. Remember, cortex and xylem is not the same. These are two different things. You will draw the diagram later on, not right now. Diagram is also present in the textbook, page number 164. The most right hand side of the thing is explaining how different roots are going to perform the same work, and all roots are going to absorb water in same way, creating root pressure. Okay, page number 164. Thank you very much, students.